introduce to you a wonderful woman who will be reciting a poem. She is a poet, a teacher, and the founder and director of visiting writers program called Writers in the School. She has currently served as the 6th Poet Laureate, I don't know if I pronounced that correct, of the state of Rhode Island, and is a mother of 3 children. Please give a warm welcome to Tina Kane.
So thank you for having me. I'm going to read a poem by a poet named Grace Bailey, but beforehand I just wanted to make a few remarks. And actually not in my remarks, but in a lengthy interview that I did for the Women Project. I talk about my mom who had me at the age of 19 in 1969 in Hell's Kitchen, New York, and how she was raised Catholic. Abortion was not legal at that time, and when I think back, I think, well, my father was in Vietnam serving at that time, and, you know, I don't know what her decision would have been had it been different, had it been in a different time, but between that experience and my first office, my first and only office job, because it convinced me I never wanted to work in an office again, was when I was 16. I worked at the Planned Parenthood Federation building on like 54th Street in Midtown Manhattan. I grew up in New York, and I worked in that giant building for a summer under Faye Waddleton, who was my boss, who would later become the president of the entire enterprise. But that was a real eye-opener as a teenager, and I think that definitely was a huge part of my education in terms of understanding my place in the world and my rights as a girl growing into a woman, and how important it would be to protect those rights, because they were certainly under siege in the 80s as well. So, that being said, I'm here to share a poem with you today, but because I'm a poet and I think a lot about language, I just wanted to say a few words about the terms that we use around the issue of abortion. Because I think that as women seek to maintain control over their bodies and therefore their lives, we should also think about maintaining control of the language around the issues. For even the terms that we use to characterize people's position on abortion, pro-life and pro-choice, those terms create a false dichotomy, because just as being pro-life doesn't mean being more invested in quality of life or in giving a woman's life equal value and equal weight, being pro-choice does not imply being against life. I am actually pro-life because I am for a woman's life, and by extension, for the lives of everyone connected to her, her family, and her friends, and her children. And because we all know that bringing a baby into the world produces a ripple effect whose ramifications are felt by everyone connected to that baby and her mother, it affects the village. And in a perfect world, the village would feel a sense of responsibility towards every woman and every baby. But we don't live in a perfect world, and so it's important for all women to have the freedom to create families how and when they choose to. And I actually think that, you know, to deny a woman's right to control her own body is to refuse to accept life's realities, life's accidents, its unpredictability and impracticalities, and it's to wage a false and fruitless war on facts and the sometimes difficult reality of grown-up choices. It's to hurt people already living in this world under the guise of saving people who have yet to arrive. And, you know, when it comes to things like guns in America, we say we value freedom, and some people feel very strongly about being forced to wait 5 days to obtain an assault weapon, but have no problem with forcing a woman to carry a baby for 9 months and then to spend her life raising a child that, for whatever reason, she cannot have. So, I actually had to deliver a worship service here about a month ago from that high pulpit, and this is less nerve-wracking. But so I'm preaching to the choir today, to you, right? And I'll move on to sharing the poem, but I just want to emphasize how much language matters and how much the words that we use matter, because they shape the discourse and the perception of this issue, and therefore, on some level, the reality of what abortion rights are about. I think it's important to focus our language around abortion on freedom and democracy. for tactical reasons, sure, but also because conception, the fetus, the number of weeks do not constitute the heart of the issue. Because what we're really talking about is controlling women's lives, and we must refuse to be a country that's more interested in protecting the freedom of a pastry chef in the Midwest who doesn't want to bake a cake for a gay person than we are in protecting the freedom of women to take care of their bodies. And while gun owners don't want to be told how and when they can purchase a firearm, and bakers don't want to be told who they can bake a cake for, women don't want to be told how and when to have a baby. On the face of things, what's at stake is abortion. But again, this is America. It's a democracy, not a theocracy. And so people are free to be opposed to abortion for spiritual reasons or religious reasons or for any reason at all. It's complicated. And we also must respect that. But what we really have to respect is the fact that we live in America. And that was founded on the premise of freedom. And what's at stake is women's lives, but also the integrity of our supposedly free country. The freedom of its women, and by extension, the freedom of its men, its children, and of all people. So, when I'm thinking about terms of how I describe my position, I'm pro-life because I'm pro-woman, right? I'm pro-choice because I believe in the right to choose, but I'm pro-democracy, and I think that covers all of those things as well. So I'm going to share some lines from a poem called Responsibility by the great Grace Paley. And it's about the responsibility of the poet, but I think that we can substitute the word poet for person here, because it's a poem for everyone. Responsibility. It is the responsibility of society to let the poet be a poet, or the person be a person. It is the responsibility of the poet to be a woman. It is the responsibility of the poets to stand on street corners giving out poems and beautifully written leaflets. Also leaflets they can hardly bear to look at because of the screaming rhetoric. It is the responsibility of the poet to be lazy, to hang out and prophesy. It is the responsibility of the poet not to pay war taxes. It is the responsibility of the male poet to be a woman. It is the responsibility of the female poet to be a woman. It is the poet's responsibility to speak truth to power, as the Quakers said. It is the poet's responsibility to learn the truth from the powerless. It is the responsibility of the poet to say many times, there is no freedom without justice, and this means economic justice and love justice. There is no freedom without fear and bravery. There is no freedom unless earth and air and water continue, and children also continue. It is the responsibility of the poet to be a woman, to keep an eye on this world, and cry out like Cassandra, and finally be heard. Thank you.